Does social media ever make you feel a little bit down, sad, off, iffy? You're not alone, and you may be subjected to comparisonitis. Now, comparisonitis is the art of comparing yourself to everything that you see online. Since the pandemic, we have been depending on our phones, on our social media a lot more to communicate with the outside world. But sometimes it can make us feel like we're not good enough, that we're not earning enough money, that we're not working hard enough because we are comparing ourselves to somebody else's highlight reel. Now, as somebody who works full time in social media marketing, I know all too well those feelings of comparing yourself to somebody else. And it is an unhealthy comparison. So today I'm going to share with you some practical tips so that you can get out of your comparisonitis slump and so you can have a more healthy relationship with social media. So the first one to do is to link instead of compare. So really think about the common ground that you have with that person who you've seen on social media, who you've started to compare yourself to. Think about how your lives are similar. Don't think about how you're so different, how they are thinner, richer, more successful. Think about what the common ground is and how similar you actually are. And if you're having trouble with that, let's go for number 2. If somebody is making you feel a particular way, unfollow them. If someone is making you feel negative, if somebody is riling you up, if somebody's content is just getting to you, unfollow them. Trust me, this is a really healthy exercise and it clears up your feeds for all of the positive that social media has to offer. Tip number 3, limit your time on social media. Now, I know some friends who have had digital detoxes, who have taken a week, 2 weeks off of social media and felt so much better for it and have only just come back on for their business. There are some time restrictions that you can set on particular apps. So have a look in your settings and it can limit the amount of time that you spend on social media per day. Or just schedule your social media time in so that you're not on your social media all throughout the day. Sometimes that could be just as draining. This is something that I do particularly with Instagram. I only give myself about half an hour a day to hang out on Instagram because I find that really drains my energy. Tip number 4 are for my fellow content creators and social media marketers, and that is to ensure that you create more than you consume. Social media channels are made for creation and not for comparison. Use your social media channels to share your goals, your expertise, your life events, and don't look at anybody else's. Don't absorb other people's posts. Use it for your own good. Tip number 5 is to follow the people that actively bring you joy. Now, there is a little bit of soul searching with this one, and you have to be aware of how you're feeling when you are looking at particular people over on your feed, but really evaluate whether that account is bringing you joy or whether it is bringing you down. If you're in a position where you feel like you can't unfollow someone, so it's a family member or a close friend or whatever it is, you can always use the mute button or snooze them for 30 days. A really good exercise here is to really think about who inspires you, who your aspirations are, and really get in touch with those sorts of accounts to inspire you and make sure that they lift you up positively. Of course, if they start having a negative effect on you, then it's time to unfollow. My last tip, and it's quite a difficult one, is knowing when to stop. And this can be quite difficult if you are a little bit out of touch with your emotions, if you know you are feeling sad, but you don't know what is triggering that. I invite you to diarize your habits, what you do throughout the day, and see if social media is the problem, because sometimes it's just not obvious. If you're finding that you're picking up your phone, logging onto one of the apps, and it's giving you a little bit of a slump, it may be time to come off that app altogether. I believe in the good of social media marketing, but I also appreciate that there are some negative traits, some negative feedback, some negative impacts on people's mental health, and that cannot be ignored as a social media marketer. We have a responsibility to inform you that if you are feeling negative or sad when you are on your social media, it's time for you to actually analyze how you're using social media and whether it's good for you. Social media should be helpful, it should be informative, it should be a release for entertainment and an escapism. It should not be causing you any negative thoughts, any anxiety, or any sorts of downers generally. So, have you ever experienced comparisonitis on your social media marketing journey or your social media journey generally? Let me know in the comments any of your tips or whether you'll be adopting any of my tips, and I'll see you in my next video.